My title might not make sense to you right now, but I'm gonna break it down and hopefully it'll make sense to all of us and we'll get the answers that I'm asking for. What's gravy in the Navy, sisters? It's your boy FaZe Banks. Ooh, it's Sunday, but it isn't a vlog. I don't have a vlog planned, but I have been wanting to speak about this and I spoke a lot about it on Twitter today. There's a bunch of tweets. TeaWap pop them all over the screen right now. I was going in about this whole Tati versus James Charles makeup controversy scandal situation. I wanted to talk about it with you guys. I have a lot to say. I have a unique perspective and I want to touch on a specific part of all this that nobody seems to give a about or talking about. And you guys know me, I really don't care too much about it. But this specifically, I feel like it hasn't been talked about enough and it kind of rubs me the wrong way. We'll get into that in a second. Before we do that, I wanted to actually give a shout out to Flintstone vitamins, okay? This video has absolutely nothing to do with these vitamins, but they're really, really good. Really need to go to your local CVS and pick them up. If you do, you can use code BANKS at checkout for $19 million off. Thank you. So without further ado, guys, we're gonna spill some tea. I don't have any receipts, but your boy is paying in cash. Let's go. All right, guys, now more on a serious note. Like I said, I wanted to make a video about this because not only with this specific scandal, this Tati, Jeffree Star situation, but I've noticed like this cancel culture and this drama craze internet community. It's pretty ridiculous. And I don't know if people are trolling or they just love drama or a combination of the two. It's probably most likely that. But for those of you who really get like emotionally invested in this and like care to pick a side and care about who's right or wrong, this needs to be said by somebody with some sort of credibility. Listen, 99.999% of the time, anytime a scandal comes out, a story, something juicy, some drama, some tea spilling, whatever the if you're hearing it from an opposing side, from a side with a side and a stance and something to lose or gain, it's going to be exaggerated. You're gonna be being manipulated. The story is gonna be twisted. It's just how it goes. It's how human beings are, which leads me into my other point, how human beings are. We are all pieces of shit. To some extent, we've all done things horribly wrong. We've all made mistakes, and there's stuff about all of us, every single one of us, that if certain people knew, maybe they wouldn't give a but other people probably would. That's just how people are. How many times have we seen artists and different celebrities go through scandal after scandal after scandal? It's like, to an extent, I do care, I'm not gonna lie. If it crosses a certain line, like if we're talking about murdering somebody or somebody, something like that, like, yes, okay, I don't want to associate or support this person, but if we're talking about being a bad friend and promoting some this stuff is LA. Everything that happened between these two people is so LA, it's so internet, it's just so normal. People need to use their brains and take a step back, kind of like I did. I sat back and I wanted to see what James actually said about the situation, and when he did, everything that I had feelings about was pretty much confirmed. With that being said, I don't really have a side. I don't. I have an opinion on how went down and an opinion on Tati Westbrook and these vitamins and how that all went down. That's the only real part I care about because that has to do with people's money and people spending money. It's so malicious to put someone on blast and share private details about a conversation or a relationship that has absolutely nothing to do with the internet. It's so evil to do that in the first place, let alone making money and profiting in a giant way. My title might not make sense to you right now, but I'm gonna break it down and hopefully it'll make sense to all of us and we'll get the answers that I'm asking for by the end of this video. So yeah, I guess we'll just jump right into that then. TeaWap, run the slide. All right, Tati Westbrook, whatever her name is, never saw her face, never saw a video, didn't know who this person was. Before this came out, when it came out, I'm not gonna lie, I felt bad. I felt like this was a classic case of a friend doing another friend dirty, and I personally don't agree with that behavior. But everything that was happening was a little too perfect, and the whole vitamin thing was way, like this whole situation was way more about vitamins than anyone gave it credit for. Tati, even James in his response that he just uploaded, nobody seems to like, except for PewDiePie.
It feels very manipulative, this whole thing. And it's how she talks about her brand.
We're selling like hotcakes. Like, I don't need to at this point. I'd rather put that $100,000 into research and creating a really dope product that people really love, and that's why they come back for more.
This is an ad.
But other than PewDiePie, nobody's really honed in on the fact that this was about vitamins. It was about James Charles promoting a competing vitamin brand to his best friend Tati's vitamin brand. She opened up with that, she kind of closed with that, and to say it wasn't about that, it's just not true. James Charles poked holes all over Tati's story. There's no other way to say it. She flat out lied, exaggerated, manipulated throughout that whole video. I don't know the whole story again. I don't know who's right, who's wrong. I'm sure on both sides they have wronged each other in some way. But as far as the whole, like, the waiter was straight, I mean, this tweet specifically,
he told me straight up that he was bi.
Oh my God, you tried to trick a straight man into thinking he's gay.
This was the point in the video where I was like, wow, just shows for a 100% fact that Tati manipulated, exaggerated, fabricated. In this text message screenshot to James, she jokes about how you're supposed to hook up with the waiter, not marry him. So clearly she didn't have a problem with what he was doing, and clearly this kid was not straight. He was a 100% at least bi.
We ended up watching a movie. We ended up making out for around an hour.
You don't go to a hotel and hook up with a dude if you're not at least curious about dudes. She twisted that part of it, made it look like he was straight, and made it look like James was a manipulative predator.
You are using your fame, your power, your money to play with people's emotions, even if they're straight.
To this day, none of us have seen any real proof of, and that's a pretty big claim. As far as YouTube goes, sex scandals are really the nail in the coffin, like the final, like, you know what I mean? People don't that. They tried to kind of paint him like that, did him really, really dirty on that, and just a bunch of other stuff. But what I do have a huge issue with is the fact that this woman knowingly promoted. Listen, I know how this works. Everybody who's on my side of this social media stuff knows how this works. This woman knew 100% what she was doing. She knew.
And to be a good person, and I know I'm a role model, and that matters to me, and that has gravity to me, and I want to make a difference. And let me also share that when I do reach the level of success that I hope to with Haley, I'm gonna make a lot of positive changes. I have huge plans for what I want to do to give back.
She knew that people would sympathize with her. She knew that people would feel bad about him not promoting her vitamins. She knows how the internet works and how people impulse buy things and buy off of emotion. And I can only imagine how many vitamins this woman sold. So try to follow me for just a second with the math. So Tati's video had 49 million views. A video completely dragging James Charles, causing 3 million people to unsubscribe to him. She didn't link him, so these people had to look him up and unsubscribe from him. So many people cared about this. So many people wanted to watch him burn, wanted to watch him fall down, to the point where they were ready to actually do something about it. And that is shown in the numbers. So much so that this was unlike anything anyone has ever seen ever. But I know how selling works. I know how view to buyer ratio and conversion rates work. So kind of what I'm getting at is whole thing about vitamins. Everybody's heard about the vitamins, Halo Beauty. If Tati's video converted just 1% of the people who watched that video, just 1%, which is a very normal conversion rate. Her product costs $40. Very normal price for something to cost. This is just one product. That would mean Tati and her company had sold $19.6 million worth of product. At first, that number seems so crazy and so out there, but it really kind of isn't, considering how things work, considering how emotionally invested people were into this. Like I said, to go unsubscribe from this dude, to go tweet after tweet after tweet. Just imagine for a second how many people were watching that video and thought, wow, I didn't promote her vitamins. I feel bad for her. How can I help make things right? How can I help her feel better today? Because clearly she's so sad because she lives such a horrible, miserable life. And Tati, if you're watching this, I honestly don't have anything against you. Like I said, I don't know you. And I don't even necessarily know if you intended. I know you know that this was gonna sell more vitamins. I don't know if you knew what scale it would, but if this isn't about vitamins, this is just about the truth and spilling tea or a friend doing you dirty, then I just have this to ask you. Tati Westbrook, would you please share publicly with the world how much Halo Beauty has sold in vitamins over the last month? It would be very interesting to see how much you were selling day to day leading up to the scandal, how much you sold during the scandal, and how much you're selling now. It'd be very, very interesting for everyone, and I think that everyone deserves to know, because it's not about vitamins, right? This wasn't an ad. You weren't trying to sell something. You weren't trying to get people to sympathize with you and purchase your product, right? I think a little bit of it was about that, for sure, at least, and I think that's very, very wrong. And guys, of course, listen, $19.6 million, I'm not claiming to have the answer. I'm just saying this is an actual real possibility, and it wouldn't surprise me. There is no doubt about the fact that she sold at least $1 million in pills, $2 million in pills. I would, my life is on the line. Did Tati sell $3 million worth of vitamins? Absolutely, no sweat. Yes, your life is not that bad. This was a very simple case of a friend doing you dirty and you completely putting them on blast and trying to do whatever you could to ruin their career. If you do decide to share with us the numbers, after doing so, I would recommend that. And again, if this is just about the drama and the scandal, and this is not about selling vitamins or profiting, then you should take the money earned, the extra money earned from your product, and I think you should donate it. I think you should donate it to maybe victims of abuse. That's a good one, because that seemed to be a really, really big focal point. Or maybe better yet, victims of cyberbullying maybe. And I don't use terms like that lightly. I can only imagine this kid, James Charles, is 19 years old. You can only imagine what he was thinking in his head. He probably went to a really dark place, and it's just like, stuff was miscommunicated. Again, guys, don't get me wrong. I'm sure James Charles' response, I'm sure there's stuff that he fluffed up and made sound better for his behalf, but he showed a lot of proof against a lot of claims, and it was all lights out. And I'm just going based off the real stuff that I saw. And the two major things were the vitamins, which he did talk to her beforehand. So yeah, maybe he was a friend, but not as she made him out to be. Just like I said, kind of just exaggerating. 2, the kid being straight when he wasn't. That was a huge one. That's kind of basically the one that got everybody sort of against him. But yeah, seriously, I really want to know the answer to that question. And I feel like there's a lot of people out there who do. And I felt the need to be the one to come out and ask because Keemstar kind of did, but I wanted to really put it into perspective for you guys. I'm exhausted. I'll have a regular vlog up next week. I did want to talk about this. This is something that I actually did want to touch on. So yeah, it's been your boy Banks. Like the video, subscribe to the channel. We are killing it. Phase up. Peace the out. Yeah. TeaWap, you should keep that in.